stop overcomplicating on how to build a shoulder, how to build proper shoulders. It's very overcomplicated around the entire internet. You consume too much YouTube and on how to grow how, for example, the shoulder. This is the only video you'll ever need in order to learn how to build a proper shoulder and build bigger shoulders. Most videos there's a huge amount of information, but I'll tell you the information you need in order to build bigger shoulders. So it's very overcomplicated as well on the internet. People want some complex type of lifting and usually want it's usually very overcomplicated. It's not that complicated in general. You train your shoulder, you train most of the heads of the shoulder. You do it twice a week in order to hit volume, but you don't have to overcomplicate hitting the shoulders. You hit them and then you just repeat it and do it for a long time, and eventually your shoulders will grow. That's the only basic things, and people complicate it a lot more than it should actually be, but that's in just in general, in a nutshell, everything you need. Just hit shoulders twice a week, do it consistently for a few months, and your shoulders will grow. It's nothing more complicated than that. In general, it's nothing more fucking complex than that in order to grow your shoulders. The anatomy of the shoulders are, in general, pretty easy. So it consists of 3 primary heads. You have they're called the deltoids, or shortened delts usually, amongst most people, because it's a bit of a hard muscle group to say. And you have the front delts here, you have the lateral delts over here, and then you have the rear delts here, and that's the entire shoulder in general. The shoulders are a part of the arm, however, but I still like training them separately to training like the rest of my arm, but it's still something I train. So many people like training shoulders when training arms. I personally prefer doing it when on the same day I train chest, because I train a lot of a push-pull leg type of split, which is the type of split I prefer a lot. There's not really a right or wrong to if wanting to train them whilst doing arms or maybe your biceps, or if you want to train them while doing push-pull leg. It's more up to a personal preference, which you can find your own personal preference, but I prefer the push-pull leg split a lot more, and someone else might prefer some other type of split. It really depends on your training goals. And it's once again up to own choice, but the exercises itself are very simple exercises. It's only 2 exercises compared to all these 5 other exercises that other YouTubers on the internet will give you. There's only 2 here, and they're the only 2 ones that you'll ever need to train when training your shoulders. And the first one, of course, is the overhead press. The overhead press is a very simple and functional exercise. You can do them with a bar or a dumbbell. I personally prefer using them with a bar, but some gyms, for example, when not training at the gym, if there's only dumbbells, I'll take a dumbbell, and it works fine just for me. And so when doing them with a bar, you should have around the shoulder width apart with or they should be around at shoulder width roughly with the bar. And usually the bar itself will usually be 20 kilograms, but I personally like adding weight on to the bar, like most people who train the overhead press. So I take the overhead press, and then I take it, and then just push up far, and then I try to reach hypertrophy, which I've made multiple videos on. And if you haven't watched a video about hypertrophy yet, I'll leave it in a card here, and you can watch it after this video. So the overhead press in general, very good exercise, very functional, trains very functional strength, and trains your core also very well, with that you stand up when training the overhead press. And yeah, in general, it's something I recommend almost anybody who goes to the gym to start training, and it's worked very well for me, makes me build my shoulders, and yeah, it's mostly what I'll do. And use your legs as well when trying to push up the weight. That's what I also sort of do. I use my legs a bit and push it up a bit with my to push the bar up in the air, and works very functionally. And then the second exercise, very helpful. Well, before maybe considering the second exercise, it's important to mention that when doing the overhead press, you train a lot of your front delts a lot when doing the overhead press, but it's also trained in a lot of other exercises like the bench press, for example, bench press, incline bench press, etc. All of those are trained technically there. But yeah, the second exercise, which is also very practical to build shoulders, are the lateral raises. So lateral raises, of course, they're pretty good. You can do them laterally like this, and you can do one hand usually with a cable. I do that sometimes, and also I try to combine it using dumbbells, doing both arms, and then doing the lateral raises like that. You can usually choose up to yourself if you want to do with cable or if you want to do them with dumbbells, but I personally prefer doing them with dumbbells, and it's more for personal preference. But once again, it's up to you usually how you want to do it. But I'm not going to tell you anything if you want to do it with cable or not. But it's both work, and both work totally fine for me. And the cable is in general very good if you want to just progressively overload a lot of the on the lateral raises. But then once again, it's usually also dumbbells is very nice if you want to just speed up the process a bit. Many people also add front raises as well when training these delta exercises. But once again, I personally prefer not doing that, and that's mostly because you already train your front delts very well when doing overhead press and doing bench presses and all of those type of exercises. So it's mostly for my part, which I do not like doing those type of exercises as well. But yeah, if it's more, once again, I won't tell you anything on how to do them, but I will advise you on how I would want to do them if wanting to train the shoulders.